Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Appraisal Buzzcast. We appreciate all the positive feedback we've been getting and a little bit of the hate mail, but it's great to know you guys are listening. If you aren't already subscribed, please take a second to click the subscribe button so we can make sure to get notified about the latest Buzzcast. Today, we'll be speaking with Scot Rose, Chief Innovation Officer of Class Valuation, and Joan Trice, CEO of Allterra Group. The discussion today is innovation in inspection technology and how the appraisal industry is changing. Joan, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, now that you've scared both of us, we're leading with hate mail. Scott, it is too late now to bail out. So let's hopefully
we'll do our best. Let's
exactly.
Try to avoid that.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's talk tech. And I'm just looking at your background, and you look like a complete nerd. And I say that affectionately, Scott. I like gadgets myself. So I understand your particular favorite gadget these days is a camera that you're using to do some 3D tours of homes. And why don't you share a little bit about what that project looks like?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's what we refer to as 3D scanning technology. And I think that most people are familiar with it, mostly from virtual tours that they've seen online, right? 360-degree images taken of spaces that essentially get stitched together to generate that virtual rendition of a property so that you can kind of walk through it virtually and get an understanding of what that property offers. But with that, with the advancements of machine learning and image recognition, computer vision, a lot of really fancy terms that we've all been becoming more accustomed to. Not only can we generate those virtual renditions, but we can extract a lot of data, comprehensive information about the property as well. Machine generated sketches. Not only do we get two-dimensional understanding of the property, but we get three-dimensional modeling of the property. So we know ceiling height and volume of rooms, the measurement of all the windows, the fenestration of the property, and you can also extract materials, the floor materials, and the total volume of those materials. Year, make, model match of the major appliances in the home. That today is still really captured through a serial number photograph that's taken off of those assets. But I think as the machines continue to get more and more data, they'll be able to generate that without that additional step. But it obviously, it offers ability to provide source data, authenticated data about the property that's unmanipulable. And we know if spaces are missed as well. The great thing about this technology is it works off spatial context. So we even know where conduit lines run through a home in terms of space that was missed. And so, it allows people to have a higher confidence that no area of the home was skipped, missed, or not represented. And it gives that virtual reality so that you can literally zoom in and out of every piece of the property to carry on with that transaction, so that people have a little bit more transparency than we're used to getting provided in the process historically. And there's lots of practical use cases for it.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. I know you have a specific technology that you're using at Class, and I know there's lots of competing software and other vendors working on processes around the same thing. This sounds expensive. Is this an expense to be borne by the appraiser? Does Class pick this up? What's the business model look like?
For us, it's not borne on the appraiser. I don't know what other business models will develop in the future. It is very expensive technology. It's the same type of technology that's being utilized to drive self-propelled vehicles, right? So it's really, in my mind, bringing the appraisal profession and advancing it into the 21st century and using these modern technologies to help bring more, power and validity to our profession. With Class, we obviously are taking an approach more to try to help drive efficiencies to our appraisers. And we want them to be able to leverage these new practices that we're all, testing and toying with in the industry right now. So yeah, that we're testing and utilizing it. From Class's perspective, we're really focused on driving efficiencies to our appraisers so they can make better use of their time and continue to increase their earning potential.
So Scott, I love technology too, but usually what comes with new technology is a high sticker price. So I'm sure this is an expensive process. Is the cost being borne by the appraiser, or is this an expense that class is picking up?
Oh, it's a great question, Joan, and it is expensive technology. I think, as I mentioned, this is the same technology that's being used to drive self-propelled vehicles. So it's really modern tech, and people are investing lots of money into advancing our profession into the future. I'm not sure what all other business models are planning, but class does not plan to make the appraiser bear the cost of these advancements. As a matter of fact, we see the opportunity to leverage it to help drive efficiencies in their practice so that they can get better economies of scale and actually earn more leveraging this technology than what they earned before in the past.
Right. Sounds really kind of exciting. Let me break for just a second and cut back to Jim, and then we'll pick up this conversation where we left off.
Thanks, Joan. Appraisers, when was the last time you wanted to work more for less money? The appraisal industry is headed that way. You have to do more for the same money, and now you have less time for yourself. DataMaster can change that. With their easy-to-use software, DataMaster lets you spend more time analyzing and less time typing. Plus, you get more information than the other data import products. Head to datamasterusa.com/buzz for more information and to learn how you can save an hour per report. Joan?
Thank you, Jim. So, Scott, I've had the privilege of you've actually shown me some of the 3D imaging that's done inside the home. It was pretty impressive. Seems to me, of course, we've all by now heard the objections by appraisers. We know what they are, but it would seem to me that the positives are that from a liability perspective, the appraiser has an absolute image of everything in the house. So if there is a leak in the ceiling that would appear after the inspection date, you can prove that there wasn't. It seems to me some liability protections in there for the appraiser. What are your thoughts?
Oh, no, 100%. We love that about this technology. It does. It gives, that's why at class, we branded it property fingerprint. And it obviously gives you a direct understanding of that property at a physical point in time that can be referenced throughout the process, whether it's through, reconsideration of value requests that come through, the system that everybody in the chain has the ability to reference these images and really truly understand the type of property that they're dealing with, and that the appraiser can leverage to reference as well, around their condition assessments, their quality assessments. All of that information is now readily available and there to point to. And, to your point, it also protects for downstream issues or suggesting the appraiser, missed something that was there. They always have that file to reference and have on site. And another great thing that, things I think that get overlooked with this technology that we talk about a lot, that time you forgot to take an image of a bathroom or a bedroom and you have to go back and visit the home, or if you're out inspecting 5 properties in a day and you're taking your copious notes and, about all these homes, and then you go back to type them over the next 2 to 3 days, and you're like, you kind of scratching your head about that one property because you cruised through it, or, maybe didn't completely remember everything about it with your notes. Now you have that file to go back and revisit to understand more about that property and what you saw, but you can also grab still images. So from those 360s, you can take any splice you want from each of them to generate your photo for your requirements within the appraisal report. And they're also taken at 3 different aperture settings. So you never have a dark photo or a blurred photo or a missed photo going forward. You can always go back to your file, reference it, and just simply drag and drop the image over into your appraisal report. And I would say that's another key thing that we've really focused on is we've worked to make the information flow seamlessly into the 4 major appraiser FormsWare providers, making it very simple and efficient for appraisers to use in their daily practice.
So one of the other objections I hear about is some appraisers actually want to do the inspections. Is this an opportunity for appraisers who prefer to do their own inspections to either use this technology themselves or put it in the hands of one of their trainees?
100%. We see 3 practical use cases of the technology. Use it in your day-to-day practice. You go out in the field and you're able to capture all the data and information that you need, and making it more simple when you get back to complete your reports at home. We do see a tremendous value in scaling the business using trainees and having more confidence and trust, because you don't have to worry about teaching them the measurement practices, ensuring those measurements are accurate and that they captured everything about the property, because again, you have this complete data set to leverage, to use. The floor plans that are generated include interior wall dimensions and detailed functional layout of the property. So it's really easy for you to reference and get understanding of that. So I think it's great with the trainee, as well as, as we start to embark in the hybrid process, which I know this might be where the hate mail comes in and a lot of appraisers are nervous about it, but I would say rightly so, based on, look, conceptually where we've gotten to today makes sense to drive more capacity to the appraiser marketplace and hopefully eliminate more drive towards waivers and other higher risk solutions by allowing the appraisers to do more with their time and focus their energy where they're very well needed and there's a high demand for them. But when we decide to have them leverage on other third-party data and information, they should be focused and demand that they have that quality of data that they need to generate a credible report. And these technologies really can assist with doing that. And we've had a lot of really great feedback from our appraisers that we've been working with on these technologies in terms of the amount of robust data and information and ability to do a digital inspection of the property from their desktop. And some appraisers are really excited about that. It can help extend your working years if you're tired of going out in the field and tromping through 12 inches, 16 inches of snow and freezing in Michigan and Minnesota or Colorado where I am, although these days it's more like summer and spring in Colorado. So it's probably warmer here today than it was in Florida, Joan. But, it's lots of different use cases for it, and it can really help bring more credibility to these processes.
Well, let's talk about time. So I'm not talking about the first time. Let's say I got the camera and I wanted to do my own inspections. I want to learn how to do this, and then I want to train my trainees on how to use this camera and the technology and do the floor plan, do the 3D scan. How much time from the minute I enter a property does it take to complete this process?
So it's obviously going to be dependent on the size of the property. The bigger the property, the more efficiencies you gain. The more complex the property, obviously, the more efficiencies you gain, dealing with jetties and rounded corners and different two-story
angles.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very beneficial for the appraiser from gaining their sketch and their measurements from that perspective. But even on a stand, and then of course when you go back to your desk, the sketch is generated and done. There's no additional sketch work that needs to be completed. It also imports all of your GLA and a lot of other data and information directly into your form, so there's no rekeying of information. I love the data master chime in that we did there, because I think these are all tools that combine together create a great deal of efficiency for the appraisers to continue to deliver more and more consistently, right? And accurately, helping them build confidence in the information that they're providing. But like an average 2,000 square foot property, you can get in and out in 30 minutes with this technology. As you go, the more rooms you have to take a spin, the greater the time. The technology, those 360 spins with a Theta camera, it only takes 2 to 3 seconds to get that full 360-degree image. So we do 1 to 2 per room throughout the home, and that's all controlled through the app. And there's very little information and data you have to enter into the app, because the image technology is extracting all of the stuff for you. So when you get back, it's able to populate the form.
Really? That's pretty cool.
The kitchen appliances, air conditioning, flooring materials, obviously, the appraiser can go through and validate and just make sure it's all accurate from what they saw. But yeah, it ports over into the form, so they don't have to do that rekeying of information.
Sounds like you might get this old gal back into appraisal production. That actually sounds like fun. Let's break right here. We're going to go back to Jim, and then we'll be right back.
Appraisers, if you've grown frustrated with endlessly pursuing new appraisal work and not reaping any of the benefits, Metro West is here to help. They understand and work to alleviate the pain points commonly felt by appraisers to enable personal and financial growth for their staff. After all, they've been owned and operated by appraisers since the company opened in 1987. Metro West Appraisal is an equal opportunity employer, and they're always looking for certified residential real estate appraisers to join their team. Visit metrowestappr.com/careers or email careers@metrowestappr.com. Joan?
Thank you, Jim. So Scott, in closing, tell us if I'm an appraiser out in the field and I haven't already sent in some hate mail and I'm actually interested in learning about this exciting new technology, who at class would I call?
That's a great question. And actually, you know, just to share, we've had so much positive feedback from appraisers in the demos we've been doing and exposing our appraisers and our panel to this technology. We've had great outpouring of positive feedback. The best way would be to reach out to appraiser outreach at classvaluation.com. And we'd love to get you added and set up to join one of the demos. They're live demos, so Q&A, and you can really dig in and get to know and understand how the technology works and ask any questions appropriately.
Fantastic. Well, what's exciting about this is no one has to wait for new forms to be released. This is something that you can actually put into use today in the here and now. This is not future state. This is available today, and it sounds like an amazing tool. Well, Scott, thank you very much for joining us today, and hope to see you in person soon.
Thanks, Joan. I really appreciate it. And, you know, just to add one last little piece, because you mentioned it, I do think that as we progress into the new forms and the new data standards, I'm not sure how familiar everybody is that data and information is out there, but these technologies and the at-home learning and everyone at home at the same time, we'll have to talk to my wife and kids after this, but they get to, this technologies will really support the modernization initiatives on that side too, where you really have to have images associated to certain aspects of the property, and it'll really help to streamline that transition for appraisers when we do get to that point.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, Joan, very much. I always love talking to you. Thanks for having me on. And Jim, it was great to see you as well.
All right.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Joan. This was such an interesting topic. I know that there'll be a lot of people who are interested in finding out more about this. And if you do want to comment, you can comment below or send us an email, comments@appraisalbuzz.com. We appreciate your time, and make sure you subscribe to get the latest information as soon as it's posted.
Thanks, everybody.
In uncertain times, you need a certain partner. You don't have to sacrifice top-notch coverage for an affordable premium. Intercorp has all the options and is sure to have just the right one to fit your specific needs. They provide the appraisal profession with competitive, best-in-class E&O coverage solutions nationwide. Having served the insurance needs of the industry for more than 25 years, Intercorp understands the risks you face every day. Whether you're an individual appraiser, appraisal firm, residential, commercial, or an AMC, visit intercorpinc.net to get a competitive quote today.